I will want to say right now I am watching movies on streaming, kinda, but not something that's actively going against the strike. Like Disney Plus or Hulu, which recently upped their prices during the fucking strike, because they're assholes. Disney showing their true colors, like the fucking person that originally owned it. Walt Disney, that racist piece of shit. Anyways, I use Tubi TV, which is free, and it has nothing to do with the strike. They don't really pay to put their movies on there. They use movies that are allowed to be put on there that they don't get in trouble for. Sometimes they do request the owners, but I don't really think they get paid. They get paid by the ads. So the more movies you watch, the more money they get. But they really don't have anything to do with the strike. So that is what I'm currently watching movies on, though I will do what I said I was going to do, where I'm going to watch some of the movies that I have on DVD that I have not reviewed yet. But, my grandma wanted to watch this movie. She said it was good. Not to insult her taste, but I've never been an action movie fan, so let's talk about the movie. Terry Crews is in here, kinda controversial actor. There was something about him supporting this awful person that I heard of. I don't remember who or what all that was about. He was also against the Black Lives Matter movement and quote used Black Lives Matter as black supremacy. Not a thing. Um yeah, very, very odd dude. Also, Stone Cold the wife beater is in here, and I feel like they knew about what he did, because there is a line that, very, very much, could have went to anybody, but they put it on his character for whatever reason. He beat his wife, and WWE covered it up. Well, in this movie, they have a scene where this white douchebag that's the main villain of the movie, though I forget his fucking name, and he's very boring, and I watched this movie yesterday. Um, well, he's like, oh, I was raised this way, so I don't hit a woman. Now, on the other hand, he doesn't have that problem. And then it's the Stone Cold's character, the dude that beat his wife. They had to have known about the allegations. Why would it go to his character out of all people? All people. Very weird. He also has like 4 or 5 lines in this movie, and he just does not put much effort into the movie. I think they knew he was a bad actor. I've seen him in a handful of movies, like Damage, and there's this one school movie I remember. I think he did okay, but I'm not going to praise the dude that's a wife beater. He does terrible in this movie. And then he gets burnt alive. The so-called plot of the movie is they're supposed to go after this dude because he's bad or whatever, and they don't even do that. Like, they just kind of fucking give up on the mission. From what I remember, it's never talked about in the plot. They never have a big confrontation. There's nothing of them giving up on the mission or anything like that. They're supposed to go kill this guy. They don't. They leave the island. They're kind of like, fuck this. And then later they go back to the island to save the girl because she was like kind of nice to them, and they don't think she deserves to be on that island because she's different or something. So then the white dude's like, oh my god, why'd you come after me? And he's like, oh, I didn't come after you, I came to save her. It's like so stupid. You also have the fucking cliche thing where one dude is like, oh yeah, I have no soul. There was this one time that I could have done something good, but I didn't. And then that makes the other person realize that they need to be a good person. So then he decides to go save the girl. It's pretty fucking stupid. In my opinion, I obviously, I don't know what I'm getting at. All movies have cliches. It's just something you have to accept. Romance movies, horror movies, they all have cliches. And, I kind of dislike horror movie cliches at times, and other times I love them. But when it's a genre you already don't like, cliches are going to bug the fuck out of you. There's also the cliche shit where, the guy doesn't really tell his girlfriend about his job, so then she cheats on him because he's not around. Really good excuse. It's called fucking break up with him and date someone else. And then the guy she ends up dating turns out to be abusive. So then he beats up the guy, and then she never is seen again in the movie. That actually happens a lot in action movies. It's a very overcomplicated cliche. And, does the typical threat to kill him. But he doesn't, because that character no longer matters and he will never show up again. There's also a second and third one that I probably won't watch. Unless I decide to fucking watch them in the future. I do want to watch RoboCop 2 and 3 because they're on Tubi TV right now. And I watched the first one almost a year ago, I think. So I would like to watch those. Well, I'm going to watch those soon, maybe. So, controversies aside, Terry Crews just does not fit in this movie. He's just like, he's usually the typical funny guy. He's in Everybody Hates Chris. He's in White Chicks. He's just in, usually comedy shit. So him in this action movie doesn't really fit that well. Just not a fan of him. The dude that plays Maroney in Gotham is in this, and his performance is shit. Nothing against the actor, because in Gotham, he had one amazing scene just off the top of my head. He did fine throughout the show. He was a good actor. He had his moments. But he definitely wasn't my favorite character, especially since the last scene he's in where he gets killed by fish. He's a sexist piece of shit. Just mocks a girl for having boundaries and not wanting to be called, like names, objectifying her. When he's a mob boss, he knows that he wouldn't want to be called certain names because it would seem disrespectful and seem that he was, letting people disrespect him. And he would lose respect as a mob boss. But because he has no respect for fish, just mocks her. But anyway, he has a really good scene with Penguin in the cabin that's very tense and shows off his acting skills and leaves you on the edge of your seat. Even on rewatch, it's a really good scene. Well, in this movie, he's fucking generic and does nothing, and then he ends up getting killed, and literally nobody gives a fuck. It really sucks. He has this big speech about how everybody makes mistakes, even though he's a fucking mass murderer, and then he gets shot in the back because he turned his back on the enemy that he just gave the money back to. He's like, I'm not helping you anymore. Here's my money. And he clearly pissed the dude off. But he turns his back to him. So of course he gets fucking killed. And literally nobody cares. Not even his daughter. There's no dialogue with her about that. You think there would be at least one, even though she didn't really like him. At least something, because it's still her dad. But, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but just really not a fan. I also give a redemption arc to this awful, awful person, Gunner. He kills someone, and then he tries to hang him after. Then a guy tries to stop him, because that's pretty disrespectful, even if the dude's a bad person, to, fucking hang him. And his only excuse is, well, they would do the same to us. So if he was killing a Nazi, I guess he would do a Nazi salute. Doesn't really make logic there, Gunner. So then he tries to beat the shit out of his teammate after he kind of like kicks him to stop him. And he's about to fucking kill him. He's gonna kill him. But he has to get talked down by Sylvester Stallone's character. And he does. And then later he's about to kill him. But, like after he gets shot, he claims that he was just gonna scare him. Even though we just saw him brutally kill someone earlier. That he was working with. The dude said something rude to him. So he like stomps his head into the car while he's driving. It's very brutal. That's probably the best thing about this movie is the fight scenes were pretty good at times. They weren't too generic. They were very creative with knife and gun kills most of the time. Though there were a lot of ones that repeated. Like a lot of ones where a knife gets thrown into someone's neck. But at times the kills were very creative. But yeah, he ends up like surviving and they're friends now or something. It's dumb. Yeah, that's about it.